Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got done watching, for the very first time, The Running Man. Fight Club 25 years ago. Holy fuck. Now, granted, I didn't see Fight Club when it first came out, but that is wild.
Never seen it.
You've never seen Fight Club? What the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing right now? I know it's kind of weird given how much I've talked about being a big Schwarzenegger fan, or at least when I was a kid. It felt like I watched a decent amount of Schwarzenegger movies. Maybe I just had a handful that I would watch and rewatch over and over again. Because this was not one of those films. This came out in 1987, so before I was born. It's also based on the Stephen King story, so I think that's very interesting. It was directed by Paul Michael Glaser, and it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Ben Richards, which I always love watching these Schwarzenegger movies where he's playing a character that has like this standard generic type white name, but like just doesn't really fit him. Or maybe I look at Schwarzenegger and I just think of that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I can't really see him with any other name. So this is set in the far, far future of 2017, which granted this is 87, so 2017 is what, 40 years from then. So yeah, that is far into the future. It's just kind of bizarre now to be watching it for the first time. And I'm a good like 8 years past the point that they are talking about. But they're living in this alternate future where the world is fucked. It's the government is running things on like a political state where it's just they're in full control of as far as the news and as far as information that gets out there. And it kind of tells you that, you know, maybe as crazy as this would have sounded, even back in the 80s, you look at the premise now and you think, that's not the most far fetched, futuristic, alternate universe type scenario that I can think of. In fact, there's a lot of movies that you can make today that would have this premise, and you would think, oh, this is sort of where we're headed in real life, in current events, in government events. So you see that, like, yeah, basically this place is fucked. It'd be interesting if they spent a little more time exploring how did we get there. I mean, I know they had text in the beginning and stuff, but just as far as showing us, like, who was the leader, who was the president, or who was the person that got the country to that state, but maybe they didn't want to go too crazy. So Schwarzenegger, he plays one of the officers that is tasked with taking out unarmed protest people, but he refuses to do so. So the other cops arrest him and throw him into this like prison labor camp, and him and a group of other guys, they break out, they escape. There's actually a pretty cool scene of one of the prisoners as one of the guys is trying to hack the system and unlock their collars. One of the guys is too excited, he's too anxious, he's too eager. He starts to run off, and you see the collar blow his fucking head off. It made me think of Suicide Squad, even though this came out well before that. And so when they break out, you see Schwarzenegger. He's now a fugitive. He's on the run. The news is saying that he's killed like a bunch of people. He runs into Amber, who's played by Maria Conchita Alonso. That's an actress that I think I'm only familiar with because she was in Predator 2. I mean, maybe she was in something else that I've seen before, but she was attractive. I'm like, okay, in the 80s, I can see how this Hispanic actress was maybe in a few things as a lead. But it's funny that Schwarzenegger, he like goes into her apartment. I think he thinks it's like his brother or his cousin's apartment, but she now lives here. They're now in the situation where he has to use her in order to maybe get a flight out of the area. And she's his hostage. And you're sitting there going like, okay, Schwarzenegger is innocent. He is being framed for murders and a bunch of stuff that he didn't do. But this woman must be terrified. And of course, she exposes him and gets him caught. That actually made a lot of sense. But when he gets caught, instead of being put back into this prison or whatever, he gets recruited by this guy, like the host of this TV reality show called The Running Man. Because this guy wants Schwarzenegger to be like the star of this show, of this season. And so you see Schwarzenegger, he doesn't really have a choice. He's being put into these games. You're seeing this audience sort of cheer on, wanting him to eventually get killed. He's fighting for his life and his survival. This movie's pretty wild. This movie's pretty crazy. And yes, it is very 80s. Like, there's no doubt that you're watching this and you can see the 80s cheesiness of the direction, of the action, of the one-liners, Arnold in particular, the puns and the one-liners that, like, I know he does well. There's plenty of movies where you're like, only Arnold can pull that off. But this movie felt a little forced, like him saying "I'll be back" in a non-Terminator movie, or him saying certain things that I was like, I don't know if this movie, in this situation, warrants Arnold puns. But maybe that's just me. Maybe if I grew up on this movie, I would think different. The actual premise, though, this whole futuristic, the government, totalitarian control, like, it's wild how far ahead of their time that they are with this, how much you could totally take this and expand upon it or reimagine it and do something maybe a little more realistic. Sure, it's still hyper over the top just because of the reality show nature of it, but just the idea of the government being taken over, the government being in control of the news. Like, there's a lot of aspects of that people accuse of going on today. And so I was so surprised by that level of premise. I mean, maybe I'm trying to give this too much credit that doesn't deserve. Maybe at the time people thought this was silly. And maybe they still think it was silly. I'm not saying this is like Arnold's smartest plot movie, especially since he's been in like Terminator and whatnot. But I will say that I watched this and I was sort of digging the plot. I was digging the premise. And then you get to the reality show. The reality show, The Running Man, is hosted by Richard Dawson, who, it makes sense he would be in this role, given that in real life he was, the original host of Family Feud. I mean, I know he'd done other stuff, but I don't really know him from other stuff. So I thought that was quite hilarious. And then you see Yaphet Kotto is in this movie. He was one of the prison buddies of Arnold that broke out at the beginning. He got caught, him and this other guy, and they're being forced to put in the reality show as well to get Arnold to do it. So they're all fighting for their survival. And it was nice to see Yaphet Kotto there. They don't give him like a real fleshed out developed character. He's just there to kind of be Arnold's buddy that's in the fucked up situation along with them. But like I said, it was nice to see him. Seeing the bloodthirsty studio audience, I thought was very amusing, because that's not hard to believe or buy at all. Once again, maybe there was a time where I would be like, oh, there's no way that this group of people would be bloodthirsty and chanting for him to kill or chanting for him to get killed. No, man. People are fucked up, and especially a large group of people, for whatever reason, is they can be pushed to be fucked up like that. The high TV ratings, the fact that that's all they care about, was obviously not surprising. Jesse Ventura, it was a pleasant surprise to see him in this film, him and his wig and all. But I didn't realize how many Arnold movies that Jesse Ventura had done, especially in like his post wrestling career. So overall, yeah, I don't know what more to say about this film. The Amber character, Maria Conchetta Alonso, I was impressed how her character started off as like that hostage, but then once she figured out and realized that the news was lying about Arnold, she did try to like find the footage, the news footage herself, unedited, to see what was really going on. She gets caught and put into the games, and so she's a part of this movie a decent amount, especially in the games. I was surprised and pleasantly surprised by how much she was in this movie. I really liked her. Overall, this was a fun film. I mean, I'm not saying I loved it. I'm not saying it's one of my favorite Arnold movies. It's probably not. But I was into it. I enjoyed watching it. Let me know in the comments below if you too have seen The Running Man, the original. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you grow up on it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!